There is no way in this earth that we are the only living life forms that are living on this earth. Now, let me be clear. I believe the world is flat. You can battle me in the comments. I believe the world is flat, and I don't believe we can leave this dome. I don't think we can leave Earth. And one of the reasons why I don't think we can leave this place is because we're too destructive as a race. We are too destructive as a race, and why on God's green earth would we be allowed to go anywhere else and destroy any other part of the universe? It wouldn't make sense. That would be like allowing a roach to leave Earth and go to another planet to colonize it. Ultimately, a roach is going to do what it does best and be destructive. So I don't think we can leave. So that's why I believe that there is other life forms here in America that either walk amongst us. We've heard about the lizard people. We've heard about UFOs. I think there's got to be something to what people are talking about. And this podcast is for my conspiracy theorists, which I don't think is necessarily a conspiracy because we do have a lot of information on it. I think the tricky part is that we don't have concrete or solid information as civilians. But I do not believe beyond a shadow of a doubt that we would be allowed to leave this planet and go destroy or colonize another planet and do what we did here to Earth. We don't deserve that many chances. And that's why I think in Genesis, God separated the earth, right? He separated the waters above and the waters below with the firmament. And right above the firmament above us, which I believe is water, because water comes out of the sky, I think ultimately that there is heaven that's not too far outside of the firmament. I often even think, too, the craziest part is when you look at it, and there's so many weird things that happen, even when you look at like the sun. Let's just take the sun, for example. How is it that I can see the sun and I'm just like on a regular road just driving and it looks like the sun might literally be like in another state, or it might be a couple states away? And you mean to tell me that sun is several million miles away and I'm able to see that with clear vision without any issues? And what people will say, well, it's combustion happening and it's very bright, it's very powerful. And then my other question is why the sun doesn't leave orbit. After millions of years, it still decides to stay locked within a particular place only to warm the earth. That would seem similar to the sun having a job, and that the sun needs to do its job in order to ensure that we stay alive. That doesn't make any sense. You mean to tell me it's never drifted away? And I know scientists will get on here, well, there's a gravitational pull. I think that's malarkey. I think the sun is locked inside this dome with us. That's why it looks so close. Even when I see the moon at night, the moon looks clear as day. And as I've gotten older, it seems like the moon keeps getting closer and closer and closer to where we are. And it just doesn't make any sense. We've had so many stories that we've been told about things being so far away, that we're in outer space and that we're doing all these great, amazing things. But man lies. Men lie. That's what they do. And men who want more power are going to lie more frequently and more often about what's really true and what's really happening in this world. So don't give me that malarkey about the moon is this many million miles away, and we went there in the 1940s, 1960s, and we were able to land on it, and somebody was filming it when the aircraft landed, and the guys got out and walked around and put an American flag on there. Doesn't that sound crazy? That's like somebody really believing Clint Eastwood is a real person. Like his character is like a real person, Dirty Harry. That doesn't make any sense. It seems like a Hollywood script that we flew all that way and brought an American flag so we could put a flag up there. That was the lie to the American people to get folks to believe that we're more powerful than what we actually are. I don't believe that. Another thing I've been thinking about too, this ocean that we're living in, this ocean that's underneath us, that's beside us, that's all around us. We stopped exploration with this ocean a long time ago because I think we discovered some things in the ocean that makes us very concerned, that we should be that really worried us and that made us leave out of the ocean. For those who know, NASA officially started out as exploring the ocean. I think NASA discovered something or made a treaty or an embargo with a unidentified submersible or civilization that we've yet to understand, and they backed out of exploring the ocean. How is it possible we only know 10% of the ocean, but we're these great astronomers and great travelers of space that we can go put satellites in the sky and we can explore the moon, and we're sending things to Mars. We have the technology to send things to Mars, and my cell phone loses service in the back of Walmart. It's just not adding up. And I know what someone would say, well, the government has a lot of advanced technology that they haven't released to us. They had cell phones over 1,000 years ago, 10,000, something crazy, whatever. Ultimately, I just don't believe it. I believe that this These people that have been running this country have been lying to us since day one. And think about this, the reason why you would lie. Would you want a race or a group of people believing in a higher power? Or would you want a race or a group of people believing in man, flesh and blood, bones, things that can disintegrate and go back into the earth again? Would you rather have them believe in that? Because if you believe in a higher power, then that starts to give you credence that what we're dealing with and what we're doing here on this earth, paying rent, paying mortgages, buying land that we'll never own, paying taxes until infinity, then you'll start to understand like none of that makes any sense. We still don't understand how we got here on this earth. Some believe the Bible, some believe creationism, some believe like we came from monkeys, which is a crazy theory. Like I don't even know how they fed us that in middle school, elementary school, that we came from monkeys and through evolution showed us this map of these Neanderthals becoming more human. That's such a crazy thing. All the things that we've been fed, all the things that have been talked about here in Earth has all been a lie. It's all been one big lie. And it's hard to trust anybody that's a liar. It's hard to trust a liar because once you lie to somebody, you have to regain that trust. But some reason American people just want to willingly give their trust over to whoever's creating these lies, whoever's creating this narrative that the moon is so far away, that the sun is so far away. There's another gentleman too that put out a video recently talking about stars. If you look at stars under a telescope, stars look alive. They look nothing like what we've been shown as kids. They actually look alive. They look like angels to some extent. They look like balls of energy that are moving and shape shifting and doing all these different beautiful things. And then they tell us that it's just kind of an inanimate, not really object, but it's just kind of existing. Like there's no intelligent life to it. Something was so sophisticated when it created us. It created all these different things around us to give us evidence that there was something more sophisticated than ourselves. Do you understand that? It created something way more sophisticated to show you that what you were thinking or seeing with your eyes isn't necessarily true. I can go on and on. I'm still shocked about how animals look. What created a giraffe? I'm like, so like, that's mind blowing. And people will say, well, it was a small animal before, and then through evolution, his neck grew. Yeah, that's malarkey. Because evolution doesn't make you perfect. Evolution doesn't allow you to stick around. There has to be a grand design even between what it started off as and evolution. How do our bodies get bigger, faster, better over time? People would say, well, you work out and that's how you build it. But there has to be something, a grander design, because there has to be something that has already instructed your body to look like the finish line when you work towards that goal. The octopus. The octopus, one of my favorite animals. Where did the octopus come from? Where did that come from? What? That's mind blowing. Like, what created that? What was the original version of it? Where did it start? Did it come from outer space? Was it created in the ocean somewhere? How did it become so intelligent? And again, people will say evolution. And my answer to that is, even with evolution, something had to be smart enough to let it know to what it can grow into. Does that make sense? The octopus had already had to have had a final design in order to grow into what it needed to be. Because why has it stopped growing? Why has evolution stopped? It can still solve puzzles. It can still open clams. It can still hide. It can still camouflage. But why has it stopped in the evolutionary chain? Why doesn't it keep doing different things? Because there's a final design in which it needed to reach, and it's reached its maximum ability at this point. I think evolution stops. Isn't evolution supposed to be an ongoing thing? Isn't it supposed to be a continuum of growth and change? Something created this stuff, and people are just walking around here just believing whatever they see on TV. Whatever the news media tells you, you just decide to believe it. Mermaids can't be real. We haven't discovered them. We've only explored 10% of the ocean. What do you mean? What do you mean we haven't discovered them? We've only explored 10% of the ocean. How would we discover something in such a vast area or space? We can't even go we can only go but so deep in the ocean without things imploding or exploding. Giant squids were deemed to be fake up until maybe 40, 50 years ago. People heard stories about them, the Kraken, right? People heard stories about these massive animals that would take down these ships. And then you look at a giant squid, which can grow to the length of a school bus with its tentacles. It has eyes the size of a dinner plate. What created that? What was smart enough to design something that big? And why would it design something so big? Because if it grows that big, there has to be a bigger predator than the giant squid. Killer whale, yes. Blue whale, yes. Sperm whale, absolutely. But there also has to be a more vicious predator, I believe, that's lurking deep into the ocean that we don't talk about. A lot of things just don't make sense. A lot of things just don't make sense here on Earth. All these lies. And why has man lied so much? Answer that question. Tell me in the comments, why has man lied so much? What's the purpose? Why would he lie about all these things? Why would they begin lying about the beginning of how everything was done? Let's go to the pyramids. Let's take it there. Even if you look at the pyramids, you can look at the pyramids and tell that there was a grand design or some higher life form or higher intelligence than what we have today. And they lead us to believe that it wasn't done by the Egyptians, that it was aliens. Well, if it was aliens, then show us the aliens. If aliens are demons and demons are in the Bible, then show us them. Where did all these things that were, these mysteries that have been built around the world, where are they now? Where are all these great intelligent life forms that did all these amazing things? I'm saying all this, and this is just kind of like my rant. I'm saying all this because I think life is so much more deeper than what we understand. I think I'm very grateful for social media because we are understanding more. People are traveling more. They're sharing their stories. They're showing these 15-ton stones that have been shaped so smoothly and carved and moved across miles of the desert. Like, we're getting an opportunity to see these things, and the lies that we've been sold as kids are no longer working. We're searching for more knowledge now. It's just, I don't know. The earth is an amazing place. I would love to have more answers. I don't really even know what the answer would be, but I think if we can solve some of these mysteries, if we can get a full scope of what's really happening in this world, I think we would be grateful. One of the things that we've never seen, one of the things that we have never, ever seen is the United States aircraft, spacecraft, NASA ship, whatever you want to call it. We've never seen it actually leaving orbit. They used to even show us videos of them laying back in the chair and watching it shoot up, but they stopped even showing that narrative because for some reason it wasn't working anymore. But we used to at least see that version of what was actually happening with them taking off. They always show us like this half version when they're in outer space, supposedly working. They're in outer space, supposedly working on the space station and fixing something. They show us like the half of the Earth and all these different things. Never show them re-entering back into Earth, what that process is. Never show them getting back into the actual spaceship in order to come back into Earth. They never show their descent. They'll show this rocket going up. It may break apart. It'll disappear. It'll say, wow, they're in outer space now. But we know with technology, they need to show us the whole picture. And I think that's part of the problem. They don't show us the whole picture. I don't know. I just want answers. That's what this was about. I went all over the map. I understand that. But I would like to have some answers as to what's going on this Earth. Between the ocean, outer space, spirituality, the pyramids, the Aztecs, the Mayans. Where do these people go? I got so many questions. Love to hear from you. If you got more wisdom than me, please let me know. Drop it down below in the comment section. I definitely will respond. But until next time, guys, thank you for staying with the Voracious Podcast. Again, it's your host, Anwar, checking in. And I'm blessed to see another day. Take care, guys. Peace.